Hi there, this is Priya from Cherish Healing, doing a vlog. Today I'm just currently at Moseley Bogs, a place renowned for its connection to Tolkien as an inspiration for his book Lord of the Rings, and also it's seen to be a bit of a space for spiritual gatherings. Apparently lots of sweat lodges and other activities took place here. It's seen, I think, to some people as a bit of a sacred space. I wanted to vlog today because I've been really chewing over slash battling slash letting go of this idea of faith and spirituality. To give you a little background, I was born into a household with a very, very religious Hindu mother and a father who was not religious at all, and just keen on being a good person. That's all he would say, just be a good person. You don't need to do all these divas and prayers and things. I myself, I think, embraced my faith as a young child and then rejected it, feeling it was very misogynistic. Then went on my own journey exploring ideas around shamanism, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, lots of faiths, just exploring this idea of the other. I think the most prominent turning point was when I learnt Reiki. Reiki is a form of energetic healing originating in Japan, and my yoga teacher suggested or invited people to learn the practice. I put my hand up immediately and actually found myself exploring energy in a different way. And for me, at first it seemed a little bit weird, but we did a few demonstrations and a few practicals exploring this idea of energy, and to explain it physically, by putting your palms together when I'm doing Reiki, and then spreading them apart and pulsing them, almost like you're kind of, imagine there's a hand symmetrical to this. I'd actually feel a pressure in my palms. I feel that when I'm doing a Reiki treatment for people, and that made me feel, well, hang on a minute, I can't see it, but I know it's there, something is happening. And when I do the treatment on people, I would see something shift within them, and I myself, when I'd have Reiki treatments, would feel transported to another plane, very gently but very impactfully, if that's even a word. I went to a sacred geometry course at the end of last year where they spoke about religious and spiritual practices and this idea of how they do really bind us, and I thought, right, I'm going to give this a go. So I decided to take a break from my spiritual practices. So I haven't been praying. I've taken away a lot of the idols I used to have around my house. I used to like this idea of working with an angelic energy, which I've let go of, although I do sometimes perhaps pray for a parking space when I'm working in town sometimes. So I guess I'm cheating a little. Anyway, so just abandoning a lot of my belief systems, including horoscopes and astrology, what have you. And it's been interesting. I think my main feelings is that it's allowed me to feel more in charge, more empowered and more responsible for my choices and decisions, rather than blaming a full moon or the fact that I'm a Gemini or you know, everything happens for a reason. And perhaps it's been a little bit lonely. I don't know if that's the right word. Before, I'd imagined that there'd always be some form of universal energy protecting me, and it'd all be quite fluffy and it's all part of a process. And I've basically paused all of that and tried to strip away everything, just coming back to myself. And at 35, perhaps some people think that, oh, you should have discovered where you're at or what have you, but I certainly haven't, and maybe it's a lifelong journey. But this idea of exploring and enjoying the garden without having to invent fairies to be there is something I've been playing with. Is it aesthetic? No, atheist. I don't know if that's the term. I do get confused. And I think one of the lures of a lot of the kind of hippie fantastic ideas was to make life more exciting and more vibrant and more alive. And suppose I'm experimenting with this idea of seeing the beauty in things without having to kind of put something additional into it. I know this is a massive subject, but I thought I'd just share some of my musings around taking a break. I spoke to somebody at work who was a devout Christian, and he said lots of things happened to him, like health-wise and in terms of his family, which made him really question his faith. His mum was a very strict Christian as well, and she abandoned her faith when she divorced her husband, my friend's dad. And he was saying how I completely, was it lost the faith? I can't remember the terminology. And he said he just completely abandoned Christianity and felt like a real mug. He said, I can't believe I believed all those stupid things. And that was his experience of being a bit cross with himself, of being led to believe certain things about the world and how it functions, and certain ideas around religious belief systems. And he said he had a friend who was really interested in the Jehovah's Witness movement, and she was thinking about getting involved in that, and then she thought, hang on a minute, I respect what they do, so maybe I can still live the lifestyle of a Jehovah's Witness without having to imbue, I don't know if that's the right word, be completely taken by the structure of religion, which I thought, oh, okay, that's quite interesting. So what do I believe, and what does it mean, and how does that change the way that I exist in this world? I think one thing that really appealed to me about the hippie or alternative magical, mystical, spiritual world was I've always felt like an outsider, and when I looked at these communities or gatherings, I felt part of something with other outsiders. Maybe that was the pull, this idea of community where you're accepted, and perhaps the more left field communities are more embracing perhaps at times. I'm not sure. So I'm taking a break until June, and then after June I might start my other practices up again, or maybe do a retreat and try and reconnect. Do I feel disconnected? I'm not sure. I know I do feel very vibrant and alive and happy when I'm, for example, doing a 5 rhythms dance, and feel alive from the electricity or even serotonin. It's all just chemistry taking place in the body. I don't know, I'm musing and just maybe talking to work out what I think. I'm still doing my meditation and mindfulness practices, which I believe to be totally secular in how I experience them. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not asking for a sign. I'm not looking for a sign to help me believe something, that there is something other than what we see with our own naked eyes. Yeah, just taking a break, and I guess letting the dust settle. Well, that's all for now. A very, very long vlog post today. I don't know if it's been of any use to anybody out there, maybe a bit of solace to others, maybe some people are thinking, what a load of rubbish. But yeah, just sharing part of my journey with you here at Moseley Bog in Birmingham, talking about losing my religion or something along those lines. Okay, that's all for now. Bye.